How are we doing, guys? It's Pierre from MK Fixit Scooters here. I hope you're doing well. If you haven't already, like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with our latest content. Right here, made it like a complete mess, but it's actually really simple, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can wire up your own all-wheel drive system using a single dash. One thing to note before I go ahead and show you is that the display does become irrelevant if you use the Pro Dash. It will show you a speed, but it won't be consistent. It will just freeze and then update here and there. So I recommend to use an old dashboard if you have one, because there's no need to use the Pro one if it's not going to show you anything. You can still switch modes. The light, unfortunately, is a bit intermittent. It comes on as and when it wants to. We'll get a little bit into that later. You only need one brake lever and one throttle, one dashboard, one data cable. You then have the data cable end, which would usually go into the controller. What we have is a little clip, one of these. What happens is we plug the data cable inside this, and then you've got 4 pins that will go into our extended cable here that you can see. So what this cable here is literally just one cable going into there, joins in a connector here, and the same thing goes into there. So they're all joined to the same connector, so black is black. For example, these colors aren't the same as what a normal data cable would be, but you can understand what I mean. Black reaches black, red is with red, white is white, yellow is yellow. It's not like yellow is doing black. I'm not going to confuse you, but you understand what I mean. So that all joins in there. Then you have the one coming out, which runs exactly in the same way and joins to your dashboard cable. So essentially what would be going in here is doing both of them. Now, I recommend to split it at the end like I have done here with a connector. It's a very nice, clean, easy way to do it. You just put a bit of heat shrink around there. There's no way it's going to come apart. Otherwise, you can chop the cable and do it whichever way you want. But if you want to do it neat, I recommend to do it somewhat like this. So once you've wired your controllers like so, dashboard, one data cable, connector block, pushing out to both controllers, you're pretty much there. All you need after is like a Y cable, depending on if you use 2 single batteries or 1 battery to run both controllers. You'll need a little cable. This is a makeshift one that I quickly patched together. Pretty straightforward. XT60, XT60, and then whichever connector you've got on the end. And then obviously that would join up exactly like this, except we're using 4 cables there. So once you've got your battery connected, you are pretty much ready to go. Once you've programmed your controllers to the specific settings, I'm assuming if you go in all-wheel drive, you know about custom firmware and you know what sort of options you have to play with. There are some recommended settings on our website that you can download for free. We have the front engine and then the rear engine, 2 different softwares. I've used it for miles and miles and never had an issue with 48 volt and 14S system, I believe. We tested on that. The controllers we use are nothing special, reinforced traces, cooling pads, the rest is stock. So it's really up to you what you want to use. I would recommend using a version 3 controller, bit of cooling pad or thermal paste on the offsets, and you're pretty much good to go. If you want to see slight improvements, then you could upgrade the offsets. You could be a bit cautious and do the capacitors and things like that, but me personally, I'm quite a light guy. I'm not saying that everyone else is heavy, but depending on how you ride and your weight obviously will impact how your controller is going to perform. So a few little tips there. I will show you the front motor spinning, just in case someone thinks that this is, you know, some bogus. I don't want to go too hard because it's not mounted to anything. I would show you the rear engine, which is plugged in. However, I have nowhere to sort of mount it and let it spin freely. So unfortunately I can't do that, but if you catch up on our Facebook, you'll see plenty of videos from our phone angle of this on there. But yeah, that's, I mean, pretty much it. That is how you're going to wire up your all-wheel drive system using one dash. And honestly, it's really nice and tidy. Forget this power cable, forget your motor cables. The rest of it is really straightforward. One massive thing I would mention, if you're using it like this with a Y cable to produce 1 battery to run 2 controllers, I highly recommend always plugging in the discharge cables into the controllers, then plug in the battery in. Same with disconnecting. Disconnect the battery first and then remove the discharge cables.